Hello, and thank you for joining me here today. I'm Sam, and you have joined what we're calling the Uberman Polyphasic Sleep Program. This is a video where I'm going to give you 5 tips to help you succeed in your Uberman sleep schedule, your journey to becoming Uberman. In the last video I showed you a tracking sheet that I used to document my progress and results for the sleep schedule, writing down after every nap how I'm feeling. If there was a period of sleeping in, I wrote down how many hours it was, yada yada yada, all the different things for each nap, and then I can look back on it later, like I did in the last video, and went through the amount of times that looked at the trends. Times when I overslept had the commonality that I was sleeping in my bed, which is a sleep machine. That thing is meant for sleeping for 8 or 9 hours at a time. So the habit was there. Every time that I've slept on the couch, especially during the 3:30 a.m., there hasn't been an issue at all. There hasn't been an issue. It's just not comfortable enough to sleep for a long period of time. So it works perfectly. It works absolutely perfect for getting in the habit of the schedule. So, that aside, let's begin with number 1. Again, keep in mind I've been doing this for 5 days now. I'm no expert. Okay, there's been a number of times that I've slept through. It's 3 out of the 5 days I've slept more hours than is mentioned as optimum for the Uberman sleep schedule. The recommendation, if you fulfill it properly, is 3 to 2 hours. If you're doing 20-minute naps, you're going to do 2 hours. If you're doing 30-minute naps, your total sleep time for the day will be 3 hours. Okay? So, on to tip number 1. Have a wake-up routine. This is pretty simple. Know what you're going to do when you wake up. If you don't have a reason to be awake, why are you waking up? If you don't have a reason to sleep for 2 hours a day, why are you doing the Uberman sleep schedule? If you don't have things to do, why do you choose to do the Uberman schedule? Plain and simple, that's the question. If you're choosing to do the schedule because you have all these things to do, there are moments of brain fuzz. It's extremely important and helpful to have little cue cards where you can write things down, and that way when your alarm goes off, you can just look at your card and go, oh yeah, and just get up and start doing it. Very helpful. It also helps to drink some water when you wake up. Gets your body going. And yeah, that's basically it. That's basically number 1. Have a wake-up routine. You're waking up 6 times. Have a wake-up routine. You have lots of time to practice. Okay, number 2 is eating. What is your diet? What is your diet? Something to mention here. I'm finding doing the sleep schedule to be fairly reasonable. I'm only feeling tired, extremely tired during the 3:30 to about 7:30 period. It's the only time I'm feeling tired. And one of the reasons I can attribute that to is I eat majority of raw food, is what I do. Some vegetarian, some cooked food, but it's all really high quality. It's very simple, not too many ingredients. It's not extravagant. There's not many processed things in there. There isn't things that I can't pronounce in the food. If I can't pronounce it, I don't normally eat it unless it's a rare moment. But that's we all have those binge times. I mean, that's important to have the variety. We need to do that. So I'd say 90% of the time, I don't eat things that I can't pronounce. So diet, what are you eating? It's going to be easier if you're on a cleaner diet. So vegetarian or a raw food diet is going to be much cleaner for you. And also too, if you're doing the meat diet, or whatever, if you eat a lot of pasta, or you eat a lot of everything, the key thing is not to overeat. Because if you overeat, what happens is you fill up the body so much to the point where it needs to shut down in order to go and process all of that stuff. Right? So then you go into a stage where your body doesn't have the energy to keep itself alive. It wants to go to sleep simply to conserve energy, not necessarily because your body needs sleep or because you're tired. So be aware of that. Okay, that's number 2. What's your diet? Number 3, getting to sleep. This has been a common post and common thread on some of the forums that I've looked at. Getting to sleep. Some people mention taking things like melatonin or 5-HTP. You can get supplements. The simplest thing that I found are 2 things that create tryptophan. Besides eating turkey, you could eat peanut butter. It's very simple. So having a couple spoonfuls of peanut butter before you go to bed, or about a half an hour before your nap, is going to get your body to release that tryptophan, and you're going to fall asleep a lot easier. Same thing with bananas too. You need to give your body 30 to 45 minutes to process it and to feel that groggy, sleepy feeling. Number 3, getting to sleep. That's what we're doing. Number 4, there is 2 different types of Uberman schedules. One that's not talked about as much is the 30-minute nap. Total time is 3 hours per day. My recommendation is to do the 30-minute before you do the 20-minute. 20-minute naps, especially when you're not accustomed to waking up after 20 minutes. I mean, for most of us, it has taken, when we did monophasic sleeping or even polyphasic sleeping, our large chunk of sleep, it usually might have taken 20 minutes to fall asleep. So by the time our body is ready to sleep, it's time to wake up. Giving yourself an extra 10 minutes, bumping it up to 30 minutes, is going to give you that time to get into a sleep state and get to feel what sleep feels like. Because you're not going to feel it all that much. When you do, it feels really good, right? So that's number 4, 30 minutes versus 20 minutes. My recommendation is start off with 30 and scale it down. Step number 5, creating the habit. I want to read something from a book that has a highlight in this area on polyphasic sleeping. Big thank you to Timothy Ferris for doing all the work and the research and compiling another awesome book that can be, some people like to call it their Bible. 4-Hour Workweek was another one. So The 4-Hour Body by Timothy Ferris. An uncommon guide to rapid fat loss, incredible sex, and becoming superhuman. Sleeping 2 hours a day, that's in the realm of superhuman, isn't it? Page 291, step number 4, beat the initiation phase. The first week and a half is the toughest. If you follow your outlined schedule, don't oversleep, and don't skip naps, you should be well adjusted to your new sleeping regimen in just under 2 weeks. Though it can take up to 3 weeks. This is important to know because if it feels off, if it feels a little bit unnatural, just remember where you came from. How many years have you spent doing what is referenced in here called the waste? 8 hours of sleep, 6 hours spent unconscious doing something, having some type of out-of-body experience, unconsciousness. You can do that, or you can spend that time awake and living life. Another thing that I wanted to mention, we've got a few more seconds before it dies out here, is the alarm clock. Some people like to put a lot of emphasis on the alarm clock. I'm using the iPhone, and it works fine. You don't need something elaborate. That's it. So Happy sleeping or not sleeping, and thanks for joining.